My dear brothers and sisters, once again, it is a pleasure having you join me tonight to speak to Mamprugu, to speak to Satim-Yirdima, to speak to the good people of Boku, to speak to the regional minister for the Upper East region, to speak to the regional police commander, to speak to the president of the Republic of Ghana. And I have these two questions for the president, for the regional minister, and for the regional police commander. What is the status of the court order refraining the Mamprusis from celebrating this year's Damba? What is the status of that injunction? Would the government allow the Mamprusis and the Kusasis to celebrate Damba and Saman-Piid respectively this year, my dear brothers and sisters? About 2 weeks ago, the regional police command, spearheaded by the Upper East Regional Police Commander, went to the Bolgatanga District High Court and prayed that the court should grant them an order refraining the 2025 Damba Planning Committee from planning, organizing, and or celebrating this year's Damba. The purpose for the initiative by the police, that is to say, the purpose for going to court, requesting the court to grant an injunction on the Mamprusis, according to the police, is to enable peace to prevail in the Boku traditional area. Of course, who doesn't want peace? Unless otherwise, you are part of those who don't want to see the development of Boku. Unless otherwise, you know that Boku is not your land. Boku doesn't belong to you, so you want to destroy Boku. But I don't think the Mamprusis want to destroy Boku. And the evidence is there. And by the time we finish with this program, you will see the evidence. So in principle, the police apparently somehow have a good reason to be able to persuade the judge that, listen, over there is trouble. There's bloodshed every day. We have cause to believe that if the Mamprusis go ahead to celebrate this year's Damba, there will be violence. And we don't want violence to continue to exist in Boku. So your Lord, you can play a role here. And the role you can play here is to grant our request for an injunction. And then, of course, my Lord also did that. Honestly, in principle, there is nothing wrong with that. In principle, there is nothing wrong with the police having reasonable grounds to believe that the Damba festival may trigger violence. So, therefore, they should go for an injunction. Let's get that right. There's nothing wrong with that, because of the reason they adduced in court, which is for security reasons. So let's establish that fact. Whether you are a Mamprusi, whether you are a Kusasi, whether you are a Moshi, whether you are a Bisa, whether you are an Ewe, no reasonable person will say that, no. It doesn't make sense, right? All right. Now, but in every event in life, you need to try your best to understand the motive behind the reason. We also have to understand that in every event in life, there is some elements of history. So what happened or what is happening to the Mamprusis this year has a history. And the history can be traced as far back as 2010. 2010. Let me give you an evidence. This is a newspaper publication in 2010. And let me read what it says. Damba Festival postponed indefinitely. The Damba Festival scheduled for Saturday in the Upper East region has been postponed indefinitely to avert possible clashes between the Mamprusis and the Kusasis. The directive was issued by National Security, thus National Security Thursday, and was confirmed by the Regional Minister Mark Wayongo in an interview with Joy FM. The Mamprusi youth had accused the Kusasis of fomenting trouble and planning to disrupt the celebration of the Damba Festival. Spokesperson for the Kusasis youth, Benjamin Ndago, in an interview with Joy News said once the Bokunaba had not been officially informed of the celebration, they were not going to allow such a celebration to proceed as planned. He accused the Mamprusis of disrespecting the Bokunaba. With the seeming war of words hitting a crescendo, Mark Wayongo said a regional security meeting was immediately convened to ensure peace in the region. He said the security would ensure that the directive from the national security will be religiously followed. My dear brothers and sisters, anytime I start laughing, you will understand. Let me read the third paragraph so that we'll build our case. In the third paragraph, it says, spokesperson for the Kusasi youth, Benjamin Ndago, in an interview with Joy News, said, now let's listen to what he said. Once Bokunaba had not been officially informed of the celebration, they were not going to allow such a celebration to proceed as planned. He accused the Mamprusis of disrespecting the Bokunaba. So when you look at the reasons the Kusasi youth spokesperson gave, and you also consider the reasons national security used to postpone the celebration of Damba indefinitely in 2010, you'll be asking yourself, there is something wrong somewhere. There is something wrong somewhere. Now, I know many well-meaning people, including Mamprusis, believe that then and now that the government is doing the bidding of the Kusasis. I have picked information that the police, the regional police command, is finding it difficult to believe why the Mamprusis believe that the police, for that matter, the state, is doing the bidding of the Kusasis. So in 2010, you could see the reason, you could see the evidence. The Kusasis are saying that Mamprusis did not inform the Kusasi community chief. So they will not allow the Damba celebration to go on. And of course, this was during the NDC government. Right? And during the NDC government, the Kusasi will always have their way to get national security to take such a decision, to get the regional minister, Mark Wayongo, to take such a decision. All right. Now let's move on. So the question then is, were the Mamprusis able to celebrate Damba that year? From my investigations, the answer is yes, but they celebrated Damba for only 1 hour after going through hell. Then in 2011, the Mamprusis again were denied the right to celebrate Damba Festival. So in 2011, the Mamprusis did not celebrate Damba Festival at all. Right? 2012, 13, 14, 15, 16, you can go on. Now, I picked another information in 2014. Let's see what happened in 2014. Now, when you look at this news publication, let me read it so that we'll move along. It says, the Boku Inter-Ethnic Peace Committee, as part of its roadmap to achieving sustainable peace, agreed that each ethnic group be allowed to celebrate its festival. This was believed to be a conduit to peace in a town that peace was eluded for decades. It is for this reason that the Kusasis, Bises, and Bimumes celebrated their festivals, i.e. Saman-Piid, Zekula, and Dajong, respectively. We therefore see the refusal of the Boku Municipal Police Command to grant the Mamprusi their inalienable right to celebrate the Damba Festival slotted for January 29, 2014 as an act of oppression and new apartheid system in a democratic country like Ghana. So this was in 2014. Now there's another one that I need to show you before we move on. There's another one I need to show you before we move on. We're building an evidence, right, before we discuss whatever we need to talk about currently. Now, this is also another publication around the same time. It said, the road to peace is a long and bumpy one. Boku is made up of several tribes, with each tribe having its festival. The Moshi celebrate their festival called Budyel. The Bises celebrate Zekula and Damba for the Mamprusis. But of late, there is perceived discrimination in the way some of these occasions is in celebrating in the town. which is a source of worry to all peace-loving people. For the past 3 years, the Mamprusis in Boku have been denied the opportunity to celebrate their festival known as Damba. All efforts to get the green light from the government failed, whilst the other tribes celebrated theirs with support from government. My dear brothers and sisters, isn't that interesting? Now, let's come back to this year, 2025. All right. So the headline this year, about 2 weeks ago, on Modern Ghana, as you can see, is Court Halls 2025 Damba Festival in Boku over security reasons. Now, let me give you a continuation of that. This is the continuation. Let me read the continuation for you so that from there we can then move on to discussing tonight's program, tonight's topic. The Upper East Regional Security Council, RECSEC, has announced that the Bolgatanga District Court has placed a ban on the organization and celebration of the 2025 Damba Festival in Boku. The court order issued on Thursday, September 2025, restrained the president and members of the 2025 Damba Planning Committee from carrying out any activities related to the festival. RECSEC explained that the decision was necessary to safeguard peace and stability in Boku and its neighboring communities, where tensions have remained high in recent months. The prohibition will remain in effect until further notice. The prohibition will remain in effect until further notice. Let me read again. The prohibition will remain in effect until further notice. Is that true? This is a newspaper report. Is the report accurate? Is it a fabrication or an imagination? The answer is simply that this is not accurate. This is misleading. Now, let me go ahead to provide you the evidence. My dear brothers and sisters, as indicated earlier on, about 2 weeks ago, the Regional Police Command went to a district magistrate court in Bolgatanga and prayed the court to grant an injunction on the 2025 Damba celebration by the Mamprusis in Boku. The court, having heard the argument presented before His Lordship, the judge, in his wisdom, granted the injunction, and it is an ex parte injunction. What is the genesis? The genesis is that now, those of you who are interested in analyzing, take a pen and paper and let's do this together. The genesis is that on the 12th of September 2025, a group of Mamprusis working under the umbrella of Damba Planning Committee, sent a letter to the Divisional Police Command, the Boko Divisional Police Commander, giving notice to the commander that the Mamprusis would like to celebrate Damba Festival from this day to that day. And of course, it is a norm, and by law, the Mamprusis are required, not just the Mamprusis, every ethnic group organizing an activity, something like the festival, need to do that. So the Mamprusis followed that procedure. Now, when they wrote the notice to the regional police commander, on that same day, the Mamprusis wrote a letter to the regional minister. The letter to the regional minister, the Mamprusis were requesting or appealing to the regional minister to consider lifting the ban on wearing of smocks so that they can wear smocks on the Damba Festival Day to do their celebration. Take note of the date. This is 12 September 2025. These two letters written the same day, dispatched the same day. Now, the letter to the Divisional Police Command received a reply. In other words, the Damba Planning Committee received a reply to their letter. When was it? 17th September 2025. And what did the letter say, ladies and gentlemen? What did the letter say? Let's be patient, okay? Since we're talking about evidence, let's be patient. And I'll give you the evidence. What did the letter say? Now, the divisional police commander wrote, and he said, I write to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated blah, 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 on the above subject matter. Pursuant to Article 26(1) of the 1992 Constitution, every person is entitled to enjoy, practice, profess, maintain, and promote any culture, language, tradition, or religion subject to the provisions of the 1992 Constitution. In other words, the divisional police commander was reassuring the Mamprusis that, listen, I know you're right. It is in the Constitution, the highest law of the land. He went on to say, also, Article 200 of the 1992 Constitution also mandated the Ghana Police Service to maintain law and order in every part of the country. So he said, the Constitution granted you the right to do ABC. The Constitution also granted us, the police, the right to also do ABC. So now, where do we strike the balance? Because logically, that should be the question. You have a right granted by the Constitution. The Mamprusis have a right granted by the Constitution. The police also have a right granted by the Constitution. Now, where should there be the balance? It calls for what? Cooperation, understanding. So then, when you understand it that way, you see relevance in the last paragraph of the divisional police commander. And what did he say? I quote, by the authority vested in the command, I therefore extend an invitation to the Damba Festival Committee for a meeting in my office on Thursday, 18th September 2025 at 10 a.m. to discuss further details of your notification. Perfect. You have a right. I also have a right. You want to exercise your right. I also will want to exercise my right. So let's meet and talk. So again, the Divisional Police Command acted well. Okay. So, but take note, that was on what? 17th September. Now, did the Damba Planning Committee meet the Divisional Police Command? I don't know much about that, so I can speak to that. But interestingly, on that same 17th September, the very day the Divisional Police Command issued a response, a reply to the Mamprusis, inviting them to come to his office the next day on the 18th for a meeting. Then the regional police commander also wrote a letter to the Damba Planning Committee. So you will need to pause a minute and ask yourself, why did the regional police commander took that decision and not the divisional police commander? Because yes, the regional police commander has jurisdiction over the entire Upper East region. But of course, every municipality, every district also has a command headed by an officer. Though the officer is under the regional commander, the officer also has authority over his or her jurisdiction. It's just like the regional minister and the municipal chief executive. The regional minister cannot come to Boku municipality to do the work of the municipal chief executive, even though he is the boss. Administratively, let's get that right. Logically also, the regional police commander cannot come to the Boku divisional command to do the work of the divisional police commander. It is not the right thing to do. If it is the right thing to do, then it is just like arguing that, well, then there's no need to have divisional commanders across the region. Okay, you regional minister, regional police commander, you do the work, since you want to be imposing your will on any and every district or municipality that you feel you have the right to do that or the authority to do that, right? So that is where the red flag is beginning to show. The Mamprusis wrote a letter to the divisional police commander. Divisional police commander said, okay, I've received your letter. Come tomorrow and let's talk. Let's see what we can achieve together. Now, perhaps the divisional police commander acted dishonestly. And I will explain. When I say dishonestly, what I mean is that the Mamprusis did not write any letter to the regional police commander. So how come that the regional police commander is responding to the Mamprusis directly and not even through the divisional police commander? Probably the divisional police commander, upon receiving the letter of the Mamprusis and replying them, giving them date to come for a meeting, he went around and either called or wrote to the regional police commander to say that, hey, the Mamprusis want to celebrate Damba. So what should I do? Perhaps that is what happened. Because the point is that if the divisional commander didn't tell the regional commander, then who told the regional commander? If the divisional police commander did not tell the regional police commander that the Mamprusis have written a letter to him to celebrate Damba, then who told the regional police commander? Well, if we want to spread the net, we may also say that perhaps somebody somewhere, whether Kusasis, some Kusasis influential leader, or the Kusasis community chief, because we see the evidence in 2010, or the municipal chief executive did that. These are all possibilities. But for now, I will say that possibly it is the divisional police commander who betrayed the Mamprusis. And if he's listening to me, I will explain to him and he'll see the logic in what I'm saying. So let's take note of the date. Now, ask me the question, what happens to the letter the Mamprusis wrote to the regional minister? Did the regional minister respond to the letter? Yes. Where is the evidence? Let me get you the evidence. This is the evidence. Now, remember, let's get things clearer. The Mamprusis wrote to the divisional police commander, giving him notice of their intention to celebrate Damba. Right? The letter the Mamprusis wrote to the regional minister is also giving him notice of their intention to celebrate Damba, and therefore should consider lifting the ban on wearing of smoke. Now, this is what the regional minister said. He said, "We write to acknowledge receipt of your letter dated September 12, 2025 on the above subject matter, and wish to inform you that the ban on smoke wearing in Boku remains in full force. Hence, our inability to grant your request." In other words, they denied the Mamprusis request to wear Damba. And what that also means is that, let's take our time. What that means is that, assuming that the police had given approval, let me use that word, to the notice of the Mamprusis, say that, okay, we've realized that you want to celebrate Damba from this day to that day. That is fine with us. We will put in the necessary security measures to make sure that you celebrate your Damba. If that were the case, what it means with the regional minister letter is that the Damba can be celebrated, but Mamprusis are not expected to wear smoke in the celebration. That is that, as simple as that. Because there's a difference between refusal to lift the ban on wearing smoke and granting assurance to the Mamprusis to go ahead and perform the Damba celebration. Rexec did not say that we would not lift the ban on wearing smoke and we don't expect you to celebrate Damba. Rexec did not say that. They only said, listen, you requested for the lift of wearing of smoke. We want to remind you that the ban is still in force, so your request is denied. Simple as that. So the question is, if Damba were to organize today without smoke, can the Mamprusis go ahead to do that? Yes, the Mamprusis can go ahead to dance their Damba without wearing smoke, right? Even though we know that smoke is what actually makes it look more beautiful. But I don't believe that without smoke, you cannot dance your Damba. So let's get that logic right. Now, as I indicated earlier on, take notes of the date. Take note of the date. So you asked me the question, when did the regional minister, perhaps on behalf of the Rexec, wrote to the Mamprusis? When did that happen? It happened on 23rd of September. 23rd of September. It came after the regional police commander wrote a letter to the Mamprusis, telling the Mamprusis that, listen, Let me get the letter and then read to you what it says. Telling the Mamprusis that, listen, we are aware that, or it has come to my notice that you want to celebrate Damba this year. We have reasons to believe. Let me just paraphrase or summarize it. We have, or I have reasons to believe that, let me be fair to him. We, the police, have reason to believe that the celebration of the Damba may cause some trouble in Boku. So we are requesting you to postpone the celebration. I think I need to read it. I need to read the letter so that we'll all be on the same page, and then you see exactly the words he used and how he crafted it. Right? This is it. This is it. So it says, with reference to your letter dated 12 September 2025, on the above subject matter, this office is sorry to inform you that it has reasonable grounds to believe that the celebration of Damba Festival in Boku this year may lead to violence and endanger public safety and all that. Then, point 5, it says, you are enjoined by the Public Order Act, you quoted, to within 48 hours of this request to respond, of this request to postpone the celebration of the Damba Festival, notify this office of your willingness to comply. So more or less, it wasn't like, hey, reason with us, right? This is the intelligence we are picking. So based on that intelligence, we think you should consider postponing it, and then let's see how the situation will work out, and then we can discuss it. The letter didn't sound like that. It came as a directive, right? It says what? Notify this office of your willingness to comply. In other words, that is what they are expecting. They don't expect the Mamprusis to say anything beside saying that, yes, Amasa, we will comply. Right? Okay. Then he said, we assure you of our resolve to enforce the law to ensure peace and order, to ensure peace, order, and safety within Boku. We assure you of our resolve to enforce the law. You see, this is very confrontational. The regional police commander didn't show maturity. He didn't show diplomacy. He didn't show a spirit of a good policeman or police officer. I mean, in this 21st century, you don't do this. You appeal to the conscience of people. You don't use force on people, even if you have the power to use that force in a normal, civilized society. In a police officer who is very professional, you don't write letters like that. If you compare his letter to the letter his subordinate, the divisional police commander, wrote, you see the vast difference. You see the vast difference. Now, see, that is why I'm just struggling to understand. First, as I indicated earlier on, the letter was not addressed to you. It was written, it was sent to the divisional police commander. How come that you stretch your long arms into this matter and then writing something like this? Okay, so what happened, my dear brothers and sisters? Again, remember, this letter from the police came before, about 2, 3, 4, 5 days before the regional minister responded the Mamprusis letter on the wearing of smoke, the ban on smoke. So you need to get it right. Okay, now let's go on. So when the Mamprusis received the letter from the regional police commander telling them to postpone the celebration, the planning, organizing a celebration, the Mamprusis replied, I can't emphasize this much. You see, if the regional police commander was that professional and smart and intelligent, even though he believes he has the authority to do what he is doing, if he were that smart and intelligent, what he needed to do is to direct the divisional police commander to issue this letter telling the Mamprusis that, listen, following our meeting on the 18th, blah, 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 and directive from the regional police command, I am requesting you to postpone the Damba celebration for ABC reasons. Simple. And you, the regional commander, you just sit down and be watching how things are going to play. You will not put your dirty hands in it. Right? But he wants to say that he's Oga. Okay, well, he's Oga because he succeeded, right? Okay, so let's go on. So the Mamprusis replied the regional police commander's letter. And what did the Mamprusis say? The Mamprusis said, listen, my brother, take it easy with us. We understand you are the Oga in this region. We understand you can turn a sheep into a pig. We know you can do all that. But we want to let you understand that this Damba festival is going to be peaceful. And we also want you to understand that it is so dear to us, our identity, ABCD. So we don't think we are in a position to postpone the Damba. Now, you may not understand the Mamprusis position in their response, but let me explain this to you. If the regional police commander had stated that postponed the Damba celebration until such a time, let's say in 1 week or 2 weeks or in a month's time, if things are okay, then we will give you the necessary security that you need to celebrate it. He didn't say that. He only said postpone it. And write to me telling me that you are willing to accept my directive. So we see the confrontational, the diplomacy wasn't there, the maturity wasn't there, right? So the Mamprusis also have to push back reasonably. And they did that. They said, listen, we cannot fight you, but we want you to understand that the position you are taking, we cannot go along with that position. Good. Now, when the Mamprusis wrote to him, when did the Mamprusis do that? Let me see. On the 18th, right? Because the Mamprusis were given 48 hours. And then again, remember the letter to the regional police, the divisional police command, the reply from the divisional police command, the letter to the regional police command, the response from the regional police command to the Mamprusis, all these correspondences took place before the regional minister wrote to the Mamprusis. So for me, if you want to argue that the police went to court for an injunction because Rexect said that for security reasons, they cannot allow the Mamprusis to celebrate the Damba. I mean, for me, if you make that argument before court, I don't think the evidence will support you. I don't think. If the regional minister had written to the Mamprusis telling them that, okay, listen, for this reason, we cannot lift the ban on the wearing of smoke, and then we also want to give you, we also want to inform you that you should not go ahead with the planning, organizing, and celebration of Damba this year. If the letter had come from the regional minister, right, before the police going to court for an injunction, that one, any reasonable person, any reasonable judge will say that yes, the directive is coming from RegSec and not the police commander. Are you getting the twist? All right, let's go. So that's what I'm saying. The dates are very important. Take note of the date. Now, so the Mamprusis replied the regional police commander on the 18th. Then another letter happened, interestingly, on the 19th. And that letter came from the municipal chief executive to the regional minister. On the 19th of September 2025, the municipal chief executive wrote a letter to the regional minister. Now, what did he tell the regional minister? I am sure you'll be interested in knowing, and then I think you deserve to know and you must know. And so far as Voice of Mamprugu, we don't do propaganda. We deal with facts and evidence. I will let you know what the municipal chief executive wrote. So this is also adding another twist to the thing. Again, this letter, the municipal chief executive letter to the regional minister, came after the correspondence between the Mamprusis and the divisional and regional police commander. So let's get that right. It's interesting. Now, this is what the municipal chief executive, Honorable Isahak Azunaba wrote. He said, it titles Recommendation to Put on Hold the Celebration of Damba Festival by the Mamprusi Community in Boku. And then take your time and listen to this. I quote, I write to respectfully bring to the attention of the Regional Security Council certain security concerns associated with the celebration of Damba by the Mamprusi community in Boku. At its meetings held on Friday, 19 September 2025, the Municipal Security Committee, MUSEC, critically reviewed the security situation in Boku and observed that the fragile peace continues to be threatened by heightened tensions between the feuding factions. It continues. Of particular concern, listen to this very carefully, Mamprugu. Of particular concern is the active presence of Seydou Abagre, who continues to parade himself as a rival Bokunaba. His association with the planned festival poses a significant risk of inflaming passion and escalating the already volatile environment. Let me take the last paragraph. In view of these developments, MUSEC strongly recommends that the celebration of the Damba festival by the Mamprusi community in Boku be put on hold until such a time that the security situation improves and adequate confidence-building measures have been undertaken. Now, let me tell you what I like about this letter from the MUSEC. And I'm saying what I like because I'm going to take you back to the letter from the regional police commander. You know, I was making the point that the language the regional police commander used, the directiveness that it contains, the lack of diplomacy, the lack of maturity, the lack of spirit of cooperation for me, is condemnable. You see, for example, this is what I would have expected that it should reflect in the letter from the regional police commander, this portion, where Musex said, put the festival on hold until such a time the security situation improves and adequate confidence building, blah, blah, blah. You see, so something like this should have been in the regional commander's letter. And remember, I told you that you try to appeal to the conscience of people. You don't use force on their conscience. So if the regional police commander had put in this line in his letter, I will want to believe that the Mamprusis would have said, okay, you know what? I think he has a good reason. We think he has a good reason. We think he doesn't have any ulterior motive to just deny us. We think he's really sincere. So let's give him the benefit of doubt and then postpone it. So that maybe 1 month time, 1 week time, or 2 months time, we can go and remind him and say that, okay, you know what? It looks like the situation has improved. Security situation has improved. So we want to celebrate the Damba. You see? But he came with that confrontation. That is not what leaders do. Even these days, the military don't do that. But anyway, let's move on, ladies and gentlemen. So the point is that the municipal chief executive wrote a letter to the regional minister, to Rexect, right? Of course, the regional minister is the chairman, saying that, listen, put on hold the celebration of Damba, the Mamprusis celebration of Damba. And this is the reason why. Seydou Abagre, blah, 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 and all those kind of things, right? Seydou Abagre here is Nashirga, His Royal Highness Nashirga. So, my dear brothers and sisters, again, we need to pause. We need to pause. And again, remember, all this long, the regional minister hadn't written anything yet to the Mamprusis. Right? Hadn't written anything yet to the Mamprusis. Again, the municipal chief executive only wrote to Rexect after correspondences between the Mamprusis and the divisional police command and regional police command was taking place or had taken place. Now, I told you to pay critical attention to dates. Now, listen to this. The Mamprusis response to the divisional police commander was on the 18th, right? And as we all know, the Mamprusis told the regional police commander, no, master boss, Oga, we beg you, we are on our knees begging you. This one, dear, I mean, you are not going to be fair to us. We are not going to be fair to us. So we cannot go along with your position that we should postpone the celebration of Damba. In any case, you didn't even say that, okay, postpone it to 1 week or 1 month or 2 months or 3 months. You just said postpone it, right? So we cannot also just we cannot also postpone it and go and sleep like that, not knowing when you would tell us that, okay, it is not time to celebrate Damba, right? So the Mamprusis politely, I have the letter. Well, there's no time. They politely wrote back to the regional commander and said, no, please, we are begging you. We cannot, right? Again, listen, that was on the 18th. And what happened on the 19th? According to the municipal chief executive, the municipal security council met on the 18th. And on the 19th to review the security situation. And on that same, on 19th, they wrote quickly to the minister, the regional minister, right? Even with that, 20th, the regional minister didn't write any letter to the Mamprusis. 21st, no letter. 22nd, no letter. Until 23rd. Now, I'll come to the regional minister letter, but let me point out something to you. Now you ask yourselves again, how is or who are the members of the Municipal Security Council? The Regional Security Council, we know the regional minister is the chair, the police commander is a member, regional immigration commander, and all that, right? Fire service and all that. Now, when you come to the municipal level, it is also a replica, the same way. So you have the municipal chief executive as the chair, you have the divisional police commander as a member, the fire service boss as a member, immigration boss as a member, prison service as a member, the military command, they'll be a member, blah, 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 all that, right? Now, listen to this carefully. You are talking about security of the municipality. And you can even extend, no, you cannot extend it to the traditional area, right? We are talking about the municipality, right? Now, you ask yourself, when the regional minister wrote the letter on the 17th to the Mamprusis, asking them to postpone the Damba festival and giving them 48 hours to reply, did the Municipal Security Council meet to review the security situation in Boku at that time or before that time? The answer is no. Now, that will tell you why when the divisional police commander received the Mamprusis letter, and in responding, the divisional police commander did not write the kind of letter the regional police commander wrote, because the divisional police commander is a member of the Municipal Security Council, and he knew that there was no any meeting around that time that reviewed the security situation to say that the place is not conducive or whatever, right? If that had occurred before the 17th, or even before the Mamprusis gave the police notice, logically, sensibly, the divisional police command response to the Mamprusis would have been that postpone the Damba. Again, listen to me, it wouldn't have come from the regional police commander. It would have come directly from the divisional commander, because the divisional commander is the member of Municipal Security Council, and he would have known that, yes, at Municipal Security Council meeting to review the security situation in the municipality, this was the decision taken. And again, you, the regional police commander, you would have sat down in your office clean, your hands clean. Nobody like me will accuse you, right, of trying to play some ways. You see? So again, let's establish that fact. Now you ask yourself, why did the municipal Municipal Security Council only sat to review the security situation in Boku after the Mamprusis told the regional police commander that, no, we cannot postpone Damba? So you see the politics in it, right? You see the politics in it. Let me repeat, you see the politics in it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Now, then on the 23rd, the regional minister wrote a letter. I'm not sure whether the Mamprusis received the letter, and I doubt. From my little inquiries, the 23rd letter, 23rd September letter from the regional minister directing the Mamprusis. I don't know. Let me just be fair to the regional minister. I don't know whether the Mamprusis indeed received such a letter, right? Now, Now, whether the Mamprusis received such a letter or not, that is not a big deal. But let's take note, that was on 23rd, right? After the police commander had told the Mamprusis that, listen, don't do it, and blah, 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 and all that, right? Then the police commander decided to go to court on 24th on an ex parte motion. And the lawyers will tell us that ex parte motion means that the police can go to the court without necessarily informing the other party that they want the court to give an order against. So that is simply ex parte motion, right? So the police going to court without informing the Mamprusis, that one, there's no any problem with that. That is legally, that is what ex parte motion simply is, right? They don't have to give you notice, right? Good. But of course, they have to be able to give a compelling grounds for the judge to grant them, and then they were able to do that. They were able to do that, right? Okay, then so they on 24th they went to court, and on the 25th the court granted them the injunction. The district court granted them an injunction. So, ladies and gentlemen, now this takes us to the question whether what is the status of the injunction? The injunction was granted on 24th. And when you read the injunction, I think I have it here. And I think this many of you also have it. So it says what? It says that, the most important part is the last paragraph. It says that, let me read. It is hereby ordered that Abubakar Idrisu, the president of Damba Planning Committee and organizers of 2025 Damba Festival at Boku, are restrained from planning, organizing, and celebrating 2025 Damba Festival at Boku to enable peace to prevail in the area. Now listen to this. The order is to remain for 10 days. The order is to remain for 10 days. So if anybody tells you that the 2025 Damba Festival has been banned, it's misleading. It's misleading. The injunction on the Mamprusis collectively not to celebrate the Damba was just for 10 days. Which, what that means is that beginning on 25th, on the day the order was granted, 10 days beginning that day. Of course, I don't know whether weekends are added or it is just working days, right? But the point is that 10 days, the Damba Planning Committee or collectively the Mamprusis were not expected to do what? To plan Damba celebration, to organize Damba celebration, and to celebrate Damba. So the question then is, what happens after the 10 days? What happens after the 10 days? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a member of the Damba Planning Committee. I am only a public relation officer of Nashiriga. Hey, clap for me. Yes, me too. I get some big posts now. Nashiriga has appointed me as the public relation officer. So anyway, before I conclude, talking about my role as the public relation officer, there is a Facebook page titled the Office of Nashiriga. Look for it and follow us on that. You'll be getting information about Nashiriga activities that he is doing, communication, what he wants the public to know, and all that, right? So you'll be getting that information from Nashiriga through the public relation office. And I am the Oga. I am the Oga of the public relation office. In other words, I am the public relation officer, the PRO, right? So, but basically, now Shirga just want to use his office to advocate for peace, to appeal to the Mamprusis, the Kusasis, and then all natives of Boku that listen. Fighting is not good, right? Fighting is not good. After all, Mamprusis, where are you taking chieftaincy to? Kusasis, where are you taking chieftaincy to? Bises, where are you taking chieftaincy to? Huh? So let's stop fighting. Let's just concentrate on seeing how collectively we can all contribute in developing Boku. You have the Mamprusis, you have the Kusasis, you have the Bises, you have the Houses, you have the Farfares, you have the Bazarmes, all of us, you have the Moshis. Let's all forget about chieftaincy. I mean, what is chieftaincy, right? What is chieftaincy? Let's forget about chieftaincy and then concentrate. At this time in our history, I mean, let's move forward. Let's move forward, right? So that is the message Nashiriga so far has been conveyed, and we will keep on appealing to all of you, especially the Mamprusi community, the all law-abiding natives of Boku, including Kusasis. I mean, not all Kusasis are one trouble. So we want to appeal to the conscience of everybody, right? Even Ghanaians, even the president of the republic. We want to appeal to his conscience that, listen, do all that you can do to get all of us understand that, listen, yeah, Mamprusi, you have your chief. Kusasi, you have your chief. Bises, you have your chief. Houses, you have your chief. I mean, everybody, you have your chief. So what is the problem? Let's look forward. Let's think ahead. Let's look forward. Everybody should be in his or her little corner, right? Anyway, okay. Now let's go back to. We are almost getting to an end of this program, my dear brothers and sisters. Let's go back to answer the question: what happens after the 10 days? What happens after the 10 days? But you know what? There's something very important. Before we answer the question, what happens after the 10 days? Let's take note of the fact that the police command gave a reason why they wanted the court to grant them an injunction, and then the court did grant that injunction, and the reason is that it is for security reasons, right? It is for security reasons. You know, from the beginning, as I told you, for me, I mean, who doesn't want peace? Who doesn't want peace? We want peace. But listen to this. Listen to this. In paragraph 15 and 16 of the police affidavit, it says, let me just take a piece of the information. It says, in the circumstances, we pray for an order of injunction restraining the organizers of the 2025 Damba Festival celebration. Now listen to this. In the interest of safety and security of the Boku municipality and Ghana as a whole, right? So that is the key thing that we need to take note. Then it says, the one who deposed, right? He said, I swear to this affidavit in support, in the interest of justice and peace. In the interest of justice and peace. In the interest of justice and peace. So when you then take these elements, that then brings us to the second question. Will the government allow the Mamprusis and the Kusasis to celebrate Damba and Saman-Piid this year respectfully in the circumstances that the police are giving us, the reason why they went for the court injunction. Of course, reasonably, one may argue that why not? Because if from now till December the situation stabilizes, or from now till November the situation stabilizes, of course, the Kusasis can celebrate their Saman-Piid. Of course, the Mamprusis can celebrate their Damba. On condition that the situation is conducive. Now that the Mamprusis have not been able to celebrate their Damba festival, or their Damba festival has been put on hold because of the insecurity situation, because of tension and blah, blah, all that. If that situation continues this way from now till December or January, now we will not even talk about January, we were talking about December, because December is the end of 2025. So if the situation continues from now till 31st December 2025, it means that the Kusasis, the Mamprusis, the Moshis, the Bises cannot celebrate their annual festival for security reasons. For me, that is the logic I'm taking from it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, now let's go to the last part. Let's answer the question, what happens after the 10 days? I think from my calculation, the 10 days has elapsed. Whether it is including weekends or only working days, the 10 days has elapsed. So the question is, what happens after the 10 days? Brothers and sisters, let's understand that, let's applaud the Damba Planning Committee. Let's applaud the Mamprusis. And let's applaud Nashirga, His Royal Highness. Why am I saying so? You realize that from the very day the Mamprusis sent a letter out about the Damba and the exchanges with the divisional police commander, with the regional police commander, the Buga Buga style of the regional police commander, and all that, with the court injunction and all those that. And up to date, with the 10 days, and after the 10 days, the Mamprusis remained calm, peaceful, and going on with life. So what does that mean? It means that the Mamprusis have complied with the directive of the court. And that is very significant. If it were other people, they would have sent audio messages. They would have said all sorts of things against the judge. They would have even said the judge should be transferred. They probably would have fired warning shots and create chaos in the town, because they didn't have their way. But the Mamprusis said, no, listen. We are not happy that you did this to us, regional police commander. We are also not happy that the court granted the injunction. But hey, as law abiding, what can we do? We have to obey. Right? For why did the Mamprusis obey the court directive? Now, that is the question you should be asking. Why did the Mamprusis obey the court directive? The Mamprusis obeyed the court directive for the same reason why the police went to court for the directive. That is for security and safety of the Boku municipality. The Mamprusis said, we will not disobey the directive. We will obey it. And they did that. So we need to applaud them. And why I said we need to applaud Nashirga because the way the Mamprusis behaved, the way the Damba Planning Committee behaved, the civility, the cooperation, the accommodation, the accommodative nature and all that, it is because of the person they revered so much and respect so much, Nashirga. Because I remember when the injunction, not the injunction, the letter from the regional police command came, I had a call. I made a call to, actually Nashirga requested that they should reach out to me for him to give me a piece of information. And I called, and then he said, my son, the Damba Planning Committee have informed me that the regional police commander is saying blah, 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 all that. And I, as the public relation officer, I want you to know that this is the directive I've given to the Damba Planning Committee. I told them to comply. I told them to work collaboratively with the security agencies. And then I told them to reach out to all the youth leaders and let them understand that he doesn't want anybody to misbehave. And so he wanted me to be aware of this and then let him know if the Damba Planning Committee or the youth are trying to do some booga things so that he would know the next step to take. And then so when I monitored, everybody like complied with Nashirga's directive. And then I think that shows that he is a true leader in the Boku traditional area. All right, so what happens after the 10 days? As I said, what happens after the 10 days? That one day, I'm not a lawyer. I've never been to the law school. So, and these are legal things, right? Will the lawyers go to court? Will they do what? Can they go to court? I don't know, right? What will the Damba Planning Committee? I don't know. That one, I don't know, right? But this is my final message. Let me re-emphasize, re-echo what I said. The organizers, the Damba Planning Committee organizers, when I had a meeting with the chairman and then the secretary before coming to this meeting, he said I should appeal to the youth that they are, just as Nashirga had spoken to or has directed, they also want me to use this medium to appeal to law-abiding citizens of Boku, the Mamprusis, and let the youth know that they are emphasizing on peace, they are emphasizing on cooperation, they are emphasizing on respect for law as they move forward. They don't have problem with anybody. So all of us, let's be peaceful, let's be cooperative, let's be respectful for the law, right? And then respect the law. They also say that I should, of course, let the public know, the president know, the regional police commander know, the regional minister know, the divisional police commander know that these situations, at least abundantly demonstrate how Mamprusis are law-abiding, accommodative, and peaceful. Now, but this is my take. This is what I'm going to ask. I have a question. I have two questions, actually. I have two questions. In light of the decision of the regional minister not to lift the ban on wearing of smoke, coupled with the reasons the police advanced in court for the injunction, will the government allow the Kusasis to celebrate their Saman-Piid festival this year? If the answer is yes, would the government allow the Mamprusis to celebrate Damba festival this year? I don't know whether the answer will be yes or no. That one, we leave it to the NDC government. We leave it to His Excellency, our father, President John Dramani Mahama. We leave that to the regional police commander. We leave that to the regional minister. We leave that to the divisional police commander. And we leave that to posterity, ladies and gentlemen. That is what I have for you tonight. And I wish I could go through your messages, but unfortunately, we've done about an hour and 35 minutes, my dear brothers and sisters. Unless otherwise you want to stick with me. If you want to have a long ride with me, well, we can go on talking. You know, sometimes I love to talk, right? My dear brothers and sisters. All right. Until then, I believe let's call it a night. And then as and when the need arises, you will see me live. Thank you so very much for your time. Continue to remain peaceful. Continue to respect law and order. Continue to listen to Nashirga, our father. And let's continue to work hard and move forward. But Mamprugu, we must not go to sleep. It is not over until it is over. It is not over until it's over. And this is what I always tell the youth. If your leaders are comfortable, make them uncomfortable. If your leaders are comfortable, make them uncomfortable. Good night.